Okay, we're going to go through calculating arc length with radians. So the information they gave us is that we have a diameter of a circle that is 22 centimeters. And our angle from wherever it's being measured is 70 degrees. So we essentially have to find the arc length. So we can pull our circle up here. This will be our circle in this case. They've given us a diameter of 22. Okay, 22 centimeters. This line here, as long as it's going through the middle, can really be set up any ways. And we can have any starting point, whether the starting point's here or here, and we go 70 degrees back, 70 forward, 70 degrees this way. The arc length won't change. It really doesn't matter. So to keep things simple, normally when we're talking about degrees, we kind of start from this point here, and we move a radian arm around, right? So this is our radian arm, let's say. We take this radian arm and we're going to move it 70 degrees. This would be 90, so we'll approximate it to be something like that. So it's up to this point. In other words, they want us to calculate this distance here. So we'll use some information we already know. We know that this is 70 degrees. We know that all the way around a circle, right, starting here to here, is essentially 360 degrees. So what we can do is, in terms of degrees, 360 degrees, we know that 70 can be somewhat of a ratio for it. So we can kind of set this up as a ratio when referencing our circumference, okay? So in other words, what we're looking for is 70 degrees, or 70 degrees of 360, so we can set it up like a fraction. Denominator is 360 and 70 on top, is going to be equal to the circumference, because we know the circumference will relate to an entire rotation around the circle. So I'll call C for circumference, and our arc length, we'll call AL in this case. We need to find our arc length. Well, we'll have to calculate our circumference in order to set up this fraction, right? So to calculate circumference, it's simple. We just take diameter times pi, right? So diameter times pi. In this case, it's 22 pi. We can leave it like this if we want, or we can set it up to be an exact value. And what we'll do is we'll leave it for this point and see if we need to change it after. Okay, so we'll set up our ratio again. 70 degrees, or 70 over a 360 is 22 pi. And our arc length, in this case we can call x, is what we need to find. So our arc length is going to be 22 pi multiplied by 70 over 360. And since we need to find an actual arc length, we'll go about calculating this. Calculator here. So we have our 70 divided by 360, right, times pi equals times 22. So it looks like we have an arc length of 13.43. Is that what it said?
Yeah.
Yeah, is that what you?
4344.
Okay. So perfect. That's great. And we've done it that way. But there's actually a very easy way to do this using radians. What we can do is, if we can convert this to radians, what we can do there is we can actually, to find out this angle, we'll still call it x. X will be equal to our radius, so the radius of this, times our angle in radians. Okay, so once we've converted it to radians, we just need to find a radius. The radius is very simple. It's half of our diameter, so we already know that's 11. Once converted, we can multiply this 11 by, and we'll see if we get the same answer. So to convert 70 to radians, do it down here. I know we got a little disorganized, and maybe if I move this over. There you go. So to convert our radians, we have 70. And what do we have to multiply by? Do you recall?
70.
In order to convert to radians?
70 times 180 over pi.
Is it 180 over pi, or is it pi over
180?
Yeah, pi over 180. Perfect. Okay. So this will essentially become 70 pi over 180, and we'll reduce it. Okay. So as we continue to reduce this, we're going to go with 7 over 18, or 7 pi over 18, and that's as low as we can go. So like we said before, our angle x is equal to 11 times 7 pi over 18. So let's see if this ends up with relatively the same of what we got before. Our arc length here, our calculator. So we'll multiply these across. So we'll do 7 times pi times 11, all divided by 18. 13.43, exact same thing. Okay, so either of them work, and this would have been probably our most intuitive way with the math we've learned up to this point. This is a shortcut in order to find arc length, something that we previously haven't been taught before in math.